Okay, last time we have seen about the dot product of two vectors. So the dot product of two vector is a scalar. So the dot product of two vector is defined as what? It is the product of the magnitude of the two vector and what? The cosine of the angle between them. Okay, today let us start about what? The cross product of two vectors. Now, okay, the cross product of two vector is a vector or a third vector. Remember, the dot product of two vector is what? It is a scalar. But the cross product of two vector is a vector. So the dot product of two vector is defined as what? It is A cross B equals what? The product of the magnitude of A times B times what? Sine of theta. We can define as the cross product, product of two vectors is a third vector, vector, or we can say that it's a vector. If you are given two vectors, vector A and vector B, we can define as this vector A and vector B. So if there's a vector, if vector A and vector B is given, so the cross product of these two vectors is defined as what? The cross product of these two vectors A cross B, this is equals what? It is the magnitude of A times what? Times the magnitude of B times what? Sine of theta, or what's theta? Theta is the angle between what? The angle between these two vectors. So since the cross product of two vectors is a scalar, so how can we determine this the direction of this vector or the cross product of two vectors? So the direction of the cross product of two vectors always perpendicular to the plane which contains the two vectors. So we can find the direction of these vectors in another ways. Like if you take like your hand, if you point out, for example, if you point out the index and extend the middle of your right hand finger, and the thumb indicates that the direction of the cross product of the vector. Why? Because this thumb is what? It's perpendicular to the plane. This thumb is perpendicular to the plane, and which is parallel to what? Which is parallel to the second vectors. Okay, the second vectors. For example, let's see. This is the index finger. This is the index finger. This is the index finger, and this is the thumb. Okay, this is the thumb. And let's say this is a vector A. Okay, this is a vector A. This is vector A. And let's say this is vector B. Okay, this is vector B. Then look here. The thumb is what? The thumb is parallel to what? Parallel to B. Okay, the thumb is parallel to B, and so this index finger is parallel to what? Parallel to the vector A. Therefore, we can say that the thumb indicates that what? It's the second vector. For example, A cross what? A cross B. This is equals what? This is equal the magnitude of A times what? The magnitude of B times what? Times sine of what? Sine of theta. Sine of theta. So this is what? This is A cross what? This is A cross B. This is the direction of the thumb indicates that the direction of what? The cross product of these two vectors. So let us remember when you are checking, we are checking about the dot product of two vectors. I dot I equals J dot J equals what? K dot K. What is it? This is 1, right? But here, why? Because when you use this one, I dot I equals what? The magnitude of I times the magnitude of I. It is what? It is 1. Sine of what? What is the angle between this? It is 180 degree. So sine of 180 or sine of 0 degree, it is what? It is, it is 1, okay? So 1 times 1 times 1, it is what? It is 1. Here, let's see what will happen. This is the cross sign and this is the dot sign. So what will happen if I cross I, this is what? J cross J, this is what? K cross what? K cross K, this is equals what? This is equals 0. Okay? Why? Because, look here, let's take one of them. What? I cross I, this is equals what? The magnitude of I times what? The magnitude of I times what? Sine of theta. In this case, what's theta? It's 0 degree, right? Because it's I means it is what? In the x-axis. There's also I, right? It's what? In the x-axis. That means they are what? Parallel. What is the angle between two parallel lines? It's 0 degree. So theta equals what? 0. So what sine of 0? Sine of 0 is what? It is 0. Okay? It is 0. So we'll take this one. Likewise, take this one. It is what? It is 0, or it is the same. So I cross J. What about I cross J? I cross J. That means it is what? The magnitude of I times what? The magnitude of what? J times what? Sine of theta. Sine of theta. In this case, what's I and J? They are what? Perpendicular. Okay? They are perpendicular. So this is, in this case, what's theta? Theta is what? It's 90 degree. Theta is 90 degree. Why? Because I and what? I and J are what? Are perpendicular to each other. That means there's what? There's x-axis, there's what? There's y-axis. Remember, in the x-axis, there's what? I vector. In the y-axis, there is what? A j vector, right? So, let's see. I cross I, this is equals what? The product of the magnitude of I times what? The magnitude of J times what? Sine of 90 degree. What sine of 90 degree? Sine of 90 is 1. So I cross J equals what? It is I cross J equals what? The product of I times what? The magnitude of J and sine of 90, which is what? 1. When you multiply any number by 1, it's the number itself, or if it's a variable, it's a variable. So what's I dot j? In this case, I dot j equals what? The product of the magnitude of I times the magnitude of what? J. So in this case, the direction is the second vector, which is what? The j. Okay. So this is the concept or the definition of the cross product of these two vectors. Bear in mind that let us, if there is a dot product here, dot product, and if you have a cross product, of vectors, so the dot product of these two vectors is a scalar, okay? The product of these two vectors is a scalar. That means it has only magnitude, but not what? Direction. And here, in the case of cross product, the product is what? The product of two vectors is what? Is a vector or a third vector. So in this case, there is what? A direction, okay? There is a direction. So the direction is determined in two ways. One thing, the first one is we can use our right hand, point out your index finger, and extend your middle finger on your right hand, and the thumb is always perpendicular to the plane, so we can say that the thumb indicates that the cross product of what? The cross product of this vector. So the direction of the cross product is what? It is the thumb, okay? It is the thumb. So in this case, we can define the dot product of these two vectors. If you are given two vectors, then the dot product of A dot B equals what? It is the magnitude of the product of A times what? The magnitude of the B times what? Times cosine of what? Cosine of theta. In this case, A cross B equals what? A cross B equals the product of the magnitude of A cross times what? Times B times what? Sine of theta. Okay, sine of theta. Look, this is cos theta, this is sine theta. This is the cosine, this is the cosine. And now, remember, when we are checking about the dot product, then was I dot I equals J dot J equals what? K dot K equals what? Equals 1. Equals 1. Why? Because cosine of 0 is 1. Okay? And here, I cross I, I cross I equals what? J cross J equals what? K cross K equals what? Equals 0. Okay? Equals 0. Okay. The next one, what about I dot J equals J dot K equals I dot K, this is equal 0. Okay, this is equal 0. Why? Because I and j are perpendicular because of 90, 0. When you multiply by any number by 0 is 0. So here, I cross what? This one, I cross j, equals what? Equals j cross what? K equals what? I cross what? K equals what? Equals 1. This is equals 1. This is the difference between the dot product of the dot product and the cross product of two vectors. After this, we can apply the practical examples of the dot product and the cross product. I think that I stop here for today. If you have any question, please leave us a comment. So let us stop here. See you next time. Bye. Okay, last time we have seen about the dot product of two vectors. So we can define as the dot product of two vectors. A dot B equals what? The magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times what? Cosine of theta. The dot product of two vector is what? It is a scalar. So today let us start the cross product of two vectors. So let's see, cross product of two vectors. So if you are given two vectors, so how to multiply these two vectors by the concept of cross product. So if you are given two vectors, vector A and vector B, then the cross product of this vector A and vector B is a vector. So the cross product of the cross product of two vector to vectors are what? Is a vector. Is a vector. So, or it is what you call a third vector. The cross product of two vector is defined as, if you are given two vector A and B, for example, if vector A is given by A and a row, and vector B is given by this one. So the cross product of these two vectors, vector A and vector B, is defined as what? Vector A cross with what? Cross with B. This is the symbol of what? Cross, okay? Remember, this is what? This is a dot, okay? So this is A dot what? Dot B. This is the dot sign. This is what? The cross sign. So the cross product of these two vectors is defined as what? This is equals what? It is the magnitude of what? The magnitude of the product of the magnitude of A times what? The magnitude of what? B, okay? The magnitude of B times what? Sine of what? Sine of theta, okay? Sine of theta. Theta is the angle between these two vectors. So we can define as the cross product of these two vectors is A cross B equals A, the product of the magnitude of these two vectors times the angle between them. So the definition of this cross product is that the cross product of these two vectors is what? It is a vector. Since it is a vector, it has what? It has a direction, okay? It has both magnitude and what? Direction. So how can we determine the direction of the vector? The direction of the vector is determined in two ways. The first one, if you are given two vectors A and B, then the direction of the dot product of these two vectors is determined by what? The plane which contains these two vectors. That means it determines the cross product of these two vectors. So, for example, if you are given vector A equals what? Ax in the I plus what? Ay in the j, and vector B equals what? Vector B equals by in the side, bx in the I plus what? by in the j, by in the j. So we can find the dot product of this vector, and we can find the direction of this dot product of these two vectors. So we can say that from this definition, A cross, remember, when we are talking about the dot product of two vectors, if you are given, remember, I dot I equals what? J dot j equals what? This is equals what? K dot k equals what? This is equals what? 0. Why? Because cosine of 90 is 0. Here, it's sine, okay? It's sine. So let's apply the definition of the concept of this one. Now, AX, look here. AX in the I, this is equal. A cross B equals what? A cross B equals AX in the I plus what? Plus AY in the J, cross is what? Cross with what? B dx in the I plus what? By in the j, okay? By in the j. Now, let's cross this by this. I cross I. What's I cross I? It's 0. It's 0. So we can apply the concept of this one, or we can say that what's I mean I cross I is this. I cross I is 1. Okay, sorry. I cross I is 1 because sine theta. What's the angle between I and I? It is what? I and I. It's parallel. Okay, it's I and I. It's parallel. So this one is 0. Okay. I dot I. This is, look here. Okay. And let's cross like this one by this one. What's I cross j? What's I cross j? It is equals what? It's it's 1. Okay, it is 1. And we can cross this one by this one. It is 1. This one by this one, or j by j. It is 0. Okay.